Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support Anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.
Okay, yeah.
Before I got on with you, I thought, hey, check out the news because it's always horrific to me recently, even more so.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awful sometimes. I don't really watch it myself. I used to listen to like 5 daily podcasts to catch up on the news all the time, and I can't do it anymore. It's too fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I the whole time that I do research and I do like make blogs or do art or whatever I'm doing, right? I have 2 different headphones.
Okay, yeah.
One side is playing music, right? The other side I listen to TV.
Oh yeah.
While I do my stuff and my research. That's also generally why I don't get stuff that's super important, because I don't totally pay attention. I got all this. I'm just a weird person with multiple stimuli.
Right.
One
of the
God.
One of the 2% of the population or whatever that can like absorb more than one sound.
Yeah, well, and for some reason it makes me feel, I don't know, better when I do that. Because I guess for me, I don't know personally, but everybody else, but for me, I feel like I get like in a zone where I'm not in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's real easy then, or it's easier for me to focus on me personally on what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
It seems weird, but
I think music can have that effect. Like, my dad, when I was a kid, he used to give me a hard time for listening to music when I was doing my homework, but I always found that it helped me concentrate.
Yeah. Oh, I love music. Absolutely. I can walk around. My wife gets irritated sometimes because she'll want to talk to me. Take down your headphones. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love it. I can listen to music, but yeah, to me, it's weird though because sometimes also I'll be focusing on sometimes I've also been where I'm focusing on something and the music starts irritating me.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be something different, whatever the hell is it? Because I can't. It's actually hurting my focus. So I know it's weird to how the background most time, but I think sometimes. It's not so much the music, probably. It's probably just my personal mood.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably for more than just me, I'm sure. But I mean, for me, I have like humongous range in what I like in music. I mean,
okay, yeah.
It's just huge. Everything from like, African music to, shamanist music, paganistic music, to rock, to rap, to classical, I like dance. Pop. I like just almost everything.
Right.
I don't really like country. So
yeah, that's about where I draw the line as well.
Country and gospel also. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not music that I don't like it, but I'm pretty broad in what I do like. It's pretty
right. I when it comes to country, I give the exception to like the outlaw country because that's got a little bit different vibe to it than a lot of the like nationalistic Toby Keith type garbage. So
you probably hear a lot more than I did when I was growing up. I grew up in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
I heard more, oldies from Hispanics where I was at, and I listened to rap and R&B because of the African American or Black neighborhoods that I was in.
Right.
Around, and then I had the white kids listening to heavy metal and speed metal, and shit like that.
Right.
I had all of it, and then so I think that helped. I think in general, but I just connect to music. I took a test when I was being a truck driver to go into the school, and they said I was smarter than a truck driver. Why don't you go to our private investigator?
Oh.
Truck drivers, you're above that. And I was like, no, that sounds crazy.
Right.
Well, it was just funny though, because then I see LinkedIn says that's like my top job as a psychological investigator for the FBI. And
right.
Very interesting that I took a test that, when I was 21 that said that, kind of, and then they're doing it now. But anyways, I think that also people class jobs as like intelligent or not. And I don't really like that because there's all kinds of intelligence you need for all kinds of jobs, even like just say, delivering food. If I had to do that, I would have to be able to calculate orders. I would have to remember numbers. I would have to remember, packages and things, and I would have to deal with customers because you have to pick up or deliver. You have to, there's all kinds of, and how is that? There's people, I remember this one person said to me, oh, those people get paid more because they're more customer service. You're the end thing. They buy it and sell it, and then I was the one delivering it. And I said, yeah, but how am I not also customer service?
For sure. Yeah.
Dude, I deal with them actually almost more and longer because they'll complain or whatever. So I got to deal with them. I end up dealing with them more actually than the person that sold the thing.
Right. Yeah.
And also that they usually get people happy. They have no problems yet. They come to me. They're pissed. This one guy, I remember one time, he's like, oh, I hate America and all this shit. And all the other people didn't want to deal with him. And I said, well, I don't preferably love everything about American theater.
Right.
But I don't really see what that has to do with your furniture.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
But so I was telling them, I don't understand why I don't get paid actually more, because I deal with confrontational clients or whatever. They were
Right.
they called us bulk pickup, like it was no big deal. They just grab the stuff and go. Oh yeah, we have to deal with them. We have to fix things. We have to work through it because we have to go to other things and reorder it, get it to the thing, find out where it is in the warehouse, come and bring it to the person. Then we have to take it with them out to their car, tie it to their car. Okay, so that's no experience at all.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't fall off, because they just let anyone tie something to a car, a big 300-pound piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was just, they told me those people get paid more because they have more, training or experience. And I was like, I find that to be just bull crap.
Yeah. No, it's
let one of those fuckers work down here and see how easy they think it is.
Yeah, that's right. It is an interesting, an odd phenomenon, like that we consider like physical jobs that involve a physical thing to be like less skill worthy, like less important or whatever.
I think you hit it right there. I actually was probably doing 3 times the customer interaction and skill needed to manage these hostile clients and get them to still feel happy than they were to sell it to begin with. And yet I agree with you, because I was doing also that and physical.
Yeah. So they viewed you through the
laborer.
Right. Exactly. You're viewed through the physical labor lens of it, and they don't acknowledge the other stuff.
That's very, very, very poignant of you to say that, because I agree. That is definitely, it's not because as far as the stuff we need to learn, I bet you I had to be trained longer than her because there was more job. Hers sell, done. I'm not saying there's nothing involved in selling. I'm not putting down people that sell things. I'm just making a comment. Certainly, I had to do customer relations in all kinds of different ways, including people would not trust that I put it on their car. Right. And then I would tell them, well, I got to do it through the door in this car because you don't have the right roof. And so you need the extra support of your door frames. Right. And they'd be like, no. I'm like, you want your roof to like rip off or bend?
I've been doing this a little while. I know how to do this.
Like, you realize they do on those door frames, they put like extra stuff. So if you have that plus the frame, then the roof, you stay way better than just the thing.
Yeah.
But in some cars, you can't do that because they make them they put too much frilly crap, or like, around the door. So it ends up being, because there's all kinds of configurations of doors. Anyways, that's my point is, so, and it not just was I trained once, I ended up realizing I had to actually learn multiple things.
Yeah.
And then I had to teach the other people, and they had to teach me also the different, because it was so much more even than we were taught.
Yeah.
So we were actually laborers to them who didn't need even to be taught, which actually needed to be taught probably 10 times more than we were, because our job actually involved 15 more times than they said.
Yeah.
And I think that's even like laborers. When I remember when someone goes, "Oh, Damien, there's no work." Oh, damn. I thought I was out of a job, and I went to the unemployment several times in my life. And I went to the unemployment office, and they said there's only labor jobs. And I'm like, what's that? And they go, well, you go out there and just dig a ditch. And I was like, that doesn't sound that bad. And it was like $7 an hour or something. I was like, whatever. So I went and I went out there. So I show up, and I'm like the only somewhat, because there was another, everyone was Hispanic except one other dude who looked like a full-on inmate. Like he should currently have shackles or something. I mean, he just tatted up, even face, his forehead had like an X in it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The guy that could not pass for I've never been to jail.
Right.
They would just go, you've been to prison. The question is, how long?
Yeah.
Anyways, so, but I'm not putting people in prison down either.
No,
I'm just saying
of course.
So this one guy, was trying to get you the how different he was. Anyway, so there's him and me, right? So the guy shows up. The first thing he tells me is, well, you look like you could drive that truck. And I thought, why? Because I'm white and don't look like this guy with a tattoo on my forehead?
How did you single me out for this?
See what I'm saying? And that's what I think people don't realize. Like all this racism and bias that they, like the critical race theory that they don't like, right? But they don't realize, dude, that's actually insufficient. Really, that is actually way insufficient. That's like they should call it the critical highlights, because it certainly isn't the whole picture. Because the whole picture is way more ugly and way more racist and bigoted or oppressed than that even possibly touches. Yeah. But I'm just saying, so it just shows you that. Now, did I say it was racist then? Did that person say it was racist? Did all the Mexicans? But I'm sure everyone there knew. Only reason he didn't even know that I could do anything, right? He assumed you look reasonable, you're white, thus you can have the highest paid job because I'm going to take you off this thing, digging ditches, and have you do this. And I said, I don't know how to drive that. He goes, yeah, but can you do it? And I said, I've never driven in I think it was a 14 or an 18 speed. I go, dude, I've never driven it. I now later know how to do it, but
I still can't do that shit.
I don't know if I can do the 18 speed. I've done a 13 speed is the highest thing I've done. So I'm sure that I could get in there and hit.
I just can't do the double clutch. Everybody tells me it's so easy, but I can't fucking figure it out.
Well, actually, I know how to do it without that.
Oh, okay.
I can do the shifter from the passenger's position.
Okay.
While you're driving.
I've heard a lot of truck drivers say that. So it's an experience thing, I guess.
I should take it back. To be totally honest, maybe I can't do it now. But
you
10
could have.
years ago, or even 20 years ago, hells to the yes. I did do that. It wasn't a could. I physically had to do it often because I was a trainer of other truck drivers, and I would be you need to shift. And they were like,
your RPMs are too high.
And I would take my hand, now, see, right there. But anyways, or I'd tell them, hit the gas, hit the gas, hit the gas, and I'd watch the revving, no, higher, now.
Okay.
I would do it for him. It's all about, with the big rig, it's all about really, the clutch is not as important. It's almost like it helps it release, but it's really all in the hand. You should do it really with your fingers.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone wants to manhandle it, like put your claw hot,
because it's big, right? And you feel like you should
muscle it through. Absolutely the wrong way. You should do it with two fingers, like you're touching like the baby or something. I mean, it just should be like really delicate. But it's hard to understand that. Yeah. But I showed this one guy. Watch, see, not even the right gear. I still got it in. But and I also would show. I'd be like, every number, especially for a 10 speed, because I did the most training. It was 10 speeds. Dude, 10 speeds are super easy to learn because every number you just add it. So for us, I know you have a different kilometers, but for miles per hour, it's super easy. Kilometers, I don't know, but for miles per hour, But then again, if I had trained in kilometers, I probably would know that. But anyway, so it's like 10, and then it's 15, 20, 25. Well, all you do is, in a sense, add those two numbers up. So if it's 1 and 5, 15 miles an hour, 1 and 5 is 6th gear.
Okay.
25 miles an hour, 2 plus 5 is 7th gear.
Okay.
35, 3 plus 5 is 8th gear. Anyways, so it's really, so like say if I'm going down a mountain and I see they're going 35 miles an hour and they're trying to put it in, say 7th gear and they're going 35, it is never going to happen. And if it does, it might be something bad. So I realize you need to go up to the higher one.
Right.
Especially if you're going down a mountain. You're better to get in a gear than no gear.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You need some control from the motor.
Yeah. Because it actually is helping doing some of the braking by mechanically slowing down all the stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's got to push pistons. And so if you're making it do that, it actually does more work. And that's why, like a Jake brake, all it really is doing is just turning off the engine. It turns
Right.
off different valves or whatever from firing. And so then it's like dead firing. And that's what makes that, sort of a
Right.
noise. Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are not very considerate, and sometimes they'll just use it through town and all kinds of shit that actually never should happen.
And actually, like my job, I deal with truckers all the time. Like they come in and they drop off fluid and stuff. So you can always tell who's using their Jake brake like miles away.
and in some areas it will say no Jake brake, but I really think in general they should have those more often, because a lot of times people are using them. It's just inappropriate. They're using them, in downtown LA is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you shouldn't be using it in that area.
I mean, I'm just making a comment. So, but it's people, jerks. They'll come out of LA Harbor. What the fuck, dude? Like it's a regular braking shit. I know why some of them do that though. It goes back to capitalism. Because if they let the brake do it with the engine, the engine stops means not burning as much fuel.
Right.
So it saves fuel.
They're not wearing the brakes.
There doesn't wear the brakes and stuff. So I understand, but like as far as it's unnecessary and the conditions of the environment, I think that you shouldn't be making this hideous ass noise, especially all hours of the thing. I also think that, to me, they talk about pollution. I think one of the great thing is no more trucks go into downtowns anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was just think downtowns already have too many cars, right? Well, the fuck do we need trucks in there then?
Yeah.
Because what's weird? There's only one like city that I know of that's the rule, and that's Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. I don't know why that's the only place in the United States where basically you're supposed to go around. You're not supposed to go into the city. But you have a very specific load or something going in there, but you're supposed to go around. I think that should be like a general rule in general.
Yeah.
And this also, because to me, you could have trucks deliver at night, right? Then they could have somewhere outside the city too. This is great because the truckers never have any parking either, right? They go in the city, can't find nowhere to park, got to park on the side or somewhere illegal or dangerous or whatever.
Right.
Or in malls, and you just have it outside, have tons of parking, bathrooms, treat people like humans. And that's like, to me, I think the truck drivers, they're saying they pay them by the mile, right? That's how I got paid. And I just find that to be just bullcrap. There's tons of, and one time, I was in Oregon, they call it the right to work, right? Which I immediately realized meant the right to not paid.
The right to not get paid.
I mean, seriously, I was making like $15 an hour, right? And I'm driving over somewhere in Oregon, right? And all of a sudden, there's an accident on the road, okay?
Okay.
For like 2-3 hours. Just
right.
I'm getting paid by the hour, though, right?
So that's okay.
I get back, right? I see my paycheck the next week. I go, why did I get paid $7 something an hour? What the hell? It's like half my pay or whatever.
Right.
And so the guy says, well, because you were in the accident, so you weren't working. I said, what do you mean I wasn't working? I had to sit in that truck in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do for 3 hours waiting to drive. How in the hell is that not part of my job? Oh, and then so I pissed, man. I called up Oregon and stuff, the labor thing. And they go, oh, well, it's a right to work. I'm like, what does that mean? California, right to work. Right to work, what does that mean? And they go, well, they have a right to actually to pay you minimum wage anytime they think you're doing not something that's your job. What?
Yeah.
I could be at work. They would tell me to do something, and then I can get paid half pay? And you call that a right to work?
Yeah, what do they say?
You mean non-union.
the justification is so inane. Like it's some nonsense about if we reduce the cost to employers, then they'll maintain jobs where otherwise they might lay people off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Bullshit.
They don't want to lose Damien as an employee, so they'll pay him less money. So he'll stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just support capitalists because they're already giving us nothing for what we're doing. Like sometimes I'm doing hazardous loads, right? Like one time, seriously, I did a load of sodium nitrate, the shit that blew up, like, I think it was the Oklahoma building or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
the government building. Yeah, I'm hauling like 3 times that, maybe 4 times that shit. I don't know, maybe more than that. I'm hauling a lot. I mean, this is like shit like terrorists would want to steal.
Right.
I get paid $1 more for taking that deadly shit that I also could have died because it could have. Fuck no.
Of course
That's
not.
part of my job. But did they get paid extra? They said they were getting paid extra because it's dangerous. Of course, that didn't have anything to do with my fucking pay. Like I said, they did pay me less one time. They felt no obligation to do the opposite and pay me more when they got more. Because capitalists just goes, hey, extra money. You know? They don't
increased profits.
Yeah, that's all they cared about. And to me, I don't understand how anyone has ever been totally okay with that. I think they're sold on the one thing, right? The one thing that we can trade things with other people or something, like some kind of like the shit the animal capitalists like to say. We can all have free trade. We can just trade.
Right. The market.
Yeah, market. Cory wants to buy Damien's art. Damien sells it. Everyone's happy. The capitalism is beautiful.
Because that's how everything works. Everything is the same as our one-to-one interaction.
but like I told you, I always get bothered because let's just say, like I said, I'm going to make jewelry, right? In the future, I don't know when exactly, year, 2 years, 3, probably 2 years. Within that time, I'll be doing jewelry. Now, I'll be doing other stuff too, but I want to do it. My father did it. I learned, and now I'm ready to do something else in my life. But anyways, so I sell you jewelry, but like I told you, I think, where does this gold or copper or anything coming from? Because I'm going to do it for bronze. Because I want to make it affordable, try to make it as cheap as possible. Because once again, my goal actually really isn't make jewelry so that I can become a millionaire. That's never my goal. My goal is actually to make jewelry for my own personal enjoyment and make it cheap enough that everybody can enjoy it too. So that's, that's my goal, really. I don't know how much they're going to be. It could be $30 to $50 or something for something up to, whatever,
right,
2,000. Because it depends. I'm selling all different kinds of metals and all different kinds of stuff. Eventually, I'll do gems maybe too, but like opals I like. I'm only going to do stuff I like. Once again, it's not really about trying to. I just want to do shit I like.
Right. And if it sells, it sells. And
yeah, exactly. So if other people like what I like, it's like I want to do sort of like almost like fantasy, ancient warrior stuff or something. Anyways, cool. Like the cool like figurines and stuff for necklaces. Just shit I like. Maybe some people will like it. Maybe they won't. I want to mix stuff from actual archaeology together, like from Siberia and Native American and just nice. or Vikings, or I just want to put stuff together that looks cool and just make like these fantasy characters. That's one of the things I want. I want to do a bunch of different stuff, but like I said, so I come up with the designs, right? Well, I'm actually taking designs from the environment. No, not exactly. They're actually ancient cultures. So that one guy that thinks that capitalism is all removed from everything actually is not even. So I need to remember, I am taking stuff from other ideas. So they're not totally mine, even though I can put them together. So once again, I still need others. I'm just showing how it's not just me. Because everyone likes to think, and I'm pretty close to me, since I don't really care about other people's ideas. But I'm just saying, even me, it's still not just me.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to show this whole mentality of capitalism, just saying that the idea that you somehow did it yourself. I'm a self-made, self this. I deserve self. Yeah, check yourself what you need to do. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I did the art, I'm actually getting it from somewhere else. So let's just say I didn't, though. But I'm doing wax casting. Wax casting is 6,000 years old, at least.
Right.
So it's still someone else's idea that somebody had to teach me.
Yeah.
So I still not, in a sense, doing it totally self-made, self-everything. Right. So, but let's just say that I did somehow. But I'm still getting this metal from somewhere. And like I said, most people, I feel like, and maybe you or certain people think broader, but I feel like most people just see the thing and don't think about how did this get to here? Like,
Right.
it didn't just come from a truck. Truckers bring everything. Yeah, I don't think so. How did it come to the truck? How did it come from the ground? Who's the one that was digging this ore?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. In a sense, and I'm not saying that I have to somehow research the origins. I'm just trying to say is I realized it has an origin. And more than likely, some poverty person was digging this out of the ground so that later Cory can put a ring on.
Exactly.
And so Cory didn't just buy a ring from me. In a sense, you bought this whole lineage of stuff that led up to this ring that it can give to you. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to say is I want to try to also do like reclaim metals and stuff. And some because I care about the environment and I want to make it an issue that, once again, because I'm not just doing it for money. I want that if I do stuff, that just the thing itself inspires people to become better. So if I sell stuff that is about the environment and then I tell them about the environment, there's more chance that they'll read, oh, this stuff was in the environment. Oh yeah, care about nature and the world. And I also want to say where copper comes from. Yeah, what's the conditions? I want to, in a sense, not that they have to, but that links that people can go to on my thing that talks more about this because I feel like there is a thing that with all this stuff that we like where diamonds have come from. It's like the De Beers Diamond Company basically runs diamonds. Diamonds are actually not unprevalent. There's a lot of them. They just happen to own all the mine rights.
So they can create a false scarcity and drive up the price and
and then tell everybody, get them in this delusion that only diamonds mean a girl's best friend and all this other nonsense that but it goes back to wealth. People, and this is what I was thinking about talking to you today. It's really, to me, the people in the middle that keep the rich afloat more than just the people at the bottom. Right. People in the bottom are probably doing this stuff. Like I said, they're digging in getting the gold out of the ground or the diamond. Yeah. So they're actually doing the real labor of everyone else is in a sense a capitalist version of their labor that actually took it out of the ground. These people found it and then they got paid probably nothing, like 50 cents, on the $10,000 or whatever. I mean, they're getting paid absolute dog shit. Yeah. And treated, it's not just they're doing this. You would think, oh, great, wonderful. No, I still treat it like shit. You know what I'm saying? I hate capitalism because even when someone's doing their shittiest job, you'd think, oh, thanks, man, because I don't want to do that. No, they treat them like shit. Like you were talking about being a driver, or somehow being something. And at my first job, I did pizza. No, my first job was animal hospital.
Oh, okay.
I worked at animal hospital. And then I left, actually, because I felt violent towards how people that were attendants treating animals, and I took the camera off and I threatened their life and I put the camera back and they were not really happy with me. And well, anyways, so I just felt like it was time for me to go to. Anyways, then I worked at a pizza parlor and ended up getting in a fight with one of the customers. That's just me in general. A lot of violence.
Yeah, it is. It's like there's a built-in assumed hierarchy when it comes to different jobs, right? Like the guy who cleans the toilet is somehow considered a lesser person than the person who runs the restaurant. But it's kind of the opposite. Like you can't have a dirty toilet in a restaurant. You need that. But a manager is
I know, but you to me, which is, it's not that I disagree with your statement that every person has value. So I don't agree to value them. But I don't like that because it positions it that humans' value of any labor is somehow still, is it worthwhile?
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I still don't like that because is not that a value judgment of worthwhile? Like I was saying, is the salesperson the most important person, or is the bulk pickup that actually can put the shit out in the customer's car?
Right. It shouldn't be. Like you said, it shouldn't be adversarial. It shouldn't be that one is more important than the other. It's that
if I fucking don't tie that right and that shit comes off, he's going to tell 35 freaking friends that his shit came off, and none of them are going to want to come and buy shit at the store.
Right.
So your one person gets probably 3 people for your great sale, but I can lose you freaking 10, 30 people that are doing something fucking,
Yeah.
acting as if somehow there's, but I told you, so it doesn't matter anyways. I don't like that, because I feel like that you're throwing class in there, like class is valid, and I don't.
And it's not.
That shit.
yeah, that's right.
I told you, I use classism in a way that's beyond just like, normally when they say classism, they just mean like social classes as poor, and rich, but I mean it is how we class things. We say, because I see it as the same thing. They're just different like valuations of people. Class to me is an evaluation of human worth.
Right.
Since I'm an axiologist and care about value theory and what is good and worthy, I certainly am very aware of things that do the opposite, that remove worth, that are an attack to human dignity.
Yeah, it's like you say, like when you put people into various classes, like then you are putting them into a hierarchy where you're placing certain people above others, and
that's always an evaluation. That always means it's a different value. It just does. Even if you said, well, it's still an equal but different. Right. It's still different. But so the point is, that's why I told you, I just like to see as good people and not good people. And I'm not saying that I try to attack the not good people, but sometimes I do, because especially their behavior. But what I'm saying is, to me, it's a choice. It's a human choice to do that which is right or that which is wrong. And to me, like I said about capitalism, it just simply is wrong. I cannot understand, even like I'm explaining the class stuff, of how is it okay for someone to work and you to put them down?
Right. Yeah.
I don't even have to finish what job it is. How in the fuck is it okay?
Yeah, that's right. A person is doing a thing.
It simply is that. Is that not labor?
Yeah. And I was reading something actually the other day saying, like, when we talk about workers, we aren't removing people with disabilities or disabled people from that. They are also workers, even if they're not currently serving capital. Right.
Well, I would say that's one of the, and I wouldn't say like a problem, but that's just one of the issues that I felt sort of with the thing of syndicalism, or how I guess perceive it, that somehow labor groups are sort of like the hierarchy structure of sort of like a social network.
Right.
But to me, how about the non-laborers, which is certainly a large population? I've always have a problem too. Me personally, I think that once someone is 16 or 15 or some age, they should be involved in what the society starts. I feel like I think that full rights should be, for me personally, should be 18 or if they say 20, whatever they figure psychologically. But that also has a lot of complications of how the people's rights and stuff. But anyway, but I'll just say right now, 18. Okay, sure. I'm fine with that. Finishing school, but I think before that, they have a right to be involved in our society. I feel like that, because this was, I think, is weird. We do say in America, there's I think 16 or 15 even or something. You can start driving cars.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you agree that some rights should become before full adulthood. So I just don't understand why some things, and I'm not saying that they.
It's interesting, yeah. Like why there's a movement here for reducing the voting age to 16, and I don't see why
I would be fine with that, because, like I said, that's what I'm trying to say is, I feel like it's an adult bias.
Yeah,
because I don't know if I ever showed you, but I have this thing that shows like two pyramids in a sense on their sides. And one is that a child starts with, in a sense, zero rights at birth, almost.
Essentially.
And almost essentially, the parent has 100% rights over the child. Yeah. But they immediately start dwindling. And as the parent goes down, the child is getting bigger.
Right.
They're opposites of each other. So by the time that they say 18, child's 100%, parent zero.
Right.
Or almost. I'm just saying, in a sense, so they're out. So I'm just making a point that but the whole time it's getting progressively more. It's not like just 0 and then say 18, or 0 and 16 some and then 18 all.
Right.
No, to me it's a progressive thing that the entire time, because and I'm not saying it should be exactly that, because I think really should be using science. There's plenty of science that knows when brains start to develop and do stuff. They can certainly plot a thing, but I feel like that we should have a thing that is more scientific, that kind of says, and then realize that rights do have to occur in these time zones, or what, or
yeah, instead of having like them be as arbitrary as they are now. Yeah, you could use an evidence-based kind of method to figure this out and actually say, hey, this is the best time for them to have this right or responsibility.
Well, and once again, it goes back to that people don't like to tell what's rights and what's, but I feel like we absolutely freaking have to, and we do anyways.
Yeah,
that's say, right. Be quiet until you're spoken to, or do this or do that. We're constant, so we have no problem. That's why I always laugh when they go, "Oh, we don't teach rights." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's a right there. That you feel that you have the right to say that, and that I am supposed to believe it." That is like a privilege. I should say, more than the right, really, but a privilege.
But it's part of the construct of rights and responsibilities, and
the fact that you could say that to me, like I said, I'm done. Like if people are like, "Oh, it's been that way forever." I'm like, yeah, but how long is forever? Because I can almost look back and figure out when this forever started. And that's something that very interests me a lot, is when did this oppression bullshit start? Who started it? When did it start? Why did it start? I want to understand, because once again, I like science. I like fucking truth.
Yeah, like I'm trying to remember. I remember hearing something a while back about how we decided when the adulthood became, because there was a time when adulthood was much earlier.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
So
in fact, I just read a thing. Right, there's a cemetery in Egypt, right near Sudan. It's really South Egypt. It's like, I can't remember, it's 9,000 or 7,000 years old or something, 8,000. Anyways, it's old, right? And what you just said, though, because it related to what you just said. I just forgot now.
Adulthood used to be considered earlier.
Oh, yeah, adulthood. So they said they figured out that there was 2 grades. One's for adults and one's for children. Children were before 3. After 3, everyone else was buried as an adult.
That's interesting.
Or a different graveyard. So I agree with you. And throughout time, they have all kinds of different ages, and I for all kinds of different reasons. I think a lot of the reasons were that a lot of men are pedophiles, and to me, people don't understand. Pedophile is a sexual attraction to a child. Child molestation is the actual sexual molestation of the child.
Right.
Pedophilia does not actually mean what people think it means, that it actually means the molestation. Wrong.
Right.
Somebody could be a pedophile and never have sex with a child.
Right.
And still be a pedophile. So people, to me, use a lot of words to put people down.
Yeah.
And they're often not accurate. Like, I'm a sociopath, and not all sociopaths. Everyone always knows a sociopath because they're the worst, aggressive. They always end up in, generally prison or arrested before they leave high school. I mean,
right. There's entire TV shows dedicated to this. Demonstrating that sociopaths are the bad guys, right?
Right. Yeah. But here I am, right, able to also be a good person.
Right.
But like I told you, that this is what it doesn't mean I'm not a sociopath. So that's why I don't like some people. They act like I've arrived. I am enlightened. Or that's why. What's that saying? They say woke or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I don't like people using that, saying they are, because they're generally not, or they're only about one subject or something. I talked to several people that think they're woke, and I wasn't very impressed with their lack of understanding of things. No. But
no, that's fair.
No, but I think what they generally mean is they understand racial issues, maybe. And maybe they do understand that. But as far as woke, when I think of that, when someone says I would think that I have to be enlightened on all kinds of stuff. But the whole thought, though, to me, is it's arrogant. I'm bragging. It's not a it's like I said. So to me, it's a form of class. You're saying I'm superior. I'm fucking woke.
Right. I'm woke.
Yeah. Well, I try to tell people is I want to be better. I know that I can be a piece of shit. I know my mind can be racist, bigoted, sexist, whatever. Not intentionally, but pretty good. You're around it. And also, guess what? A lot of times we have selfishness that can be exhibited as racist, bigoted, sexist, whatever.
Well, and we've been conditioned to think these things for our whole lives. And then, the fact that we are currently doing better or trying to do better doesn't mean that internalized stuff just disappears, right? So,
right. And I'm not saying that I have the exact same issue as other people. I don't. My mind is sicker. You maybe would have, I don't know, whatever, anger or something, and I would be like, I think I'm gonna take this glass bottle and just throw it in their head,
Right.
Something like, what the?
That makes me think of the other night. I had such an overreaction. I bumped my shin on something sharp at work, and I was like, okay, I might as well just die.
Right.
It hurt so bad. I was like, I'm just gonna die now.
But see, if you look at that, I think it's 40%. I'm quoting something I haven't read in so long. I don't know, but I think it's that. I think it's 40% of people that are sociopaths have had extreme child abuse.
Okay.
And so to me, it shows I see it as a PTSD response to prolonged threat to life and well-being that happens to where you because you get cold, you have to survive.
Right.
So you get cold that I'm only one that matters, and I have to look out for me, and I have to learn to laugh at suffering and abuse because it's either that or cry in despair in a sense.
Right. And you have to turn off your vulnerability in a way.
Not in a way, completely. It's gone. It disappears. Yeah. So it's not good to see you. And I have to try to fight the opposite. I have to fight to care. But then it's hard because then, holy shit, there's a lot of shit that I can care about.
Yeah.
It feels, like, wow, there's no end. But I think that's why it's important too for us to talk about stuff, because even like people that can have the answers all the time, sometimes they can feel overwhelmed. They can not have answers. That's why I don't like hero worship and stuff. Everybody's got a moment of greatness in a sense, just because it's a novel idea or a new thing. But I mean, even if it is, that doesn't make that person that. I mean, it's like your action is in a moment. It reminds good action.
Yeah, it makes me think of like you say, like the hero worship. Like people refuse to acknowledge the flaws or the mistakes that certain people make because they enjoy their content or online or whatever, totally. Right?
Yes.
But they're still people who make mistakes and often have very shitty opinions on one thing or another, right? So maybe we should be able to just criticize ourselves and those we enjoy the content of.
I think it's healthy because, I mean, especially to me, if you're going to be someone who likes truth or feels that you're skeptical of claims of truth, or wants to have the rational, like me, a rational understanding of it really could be true.
Right.
That's what I like. I don't feel like that's what I say. Like people say skeptic. I don't know. Skeptic, if I said that, would mean that as soon as someone says something, for me personally, I don't know what it is for you. It would mean that I start questioning or doubting what they're saying. For me. But what I was just saying, but for me as a rationalist, when you say things, I search, is this something that sounds reasonable? Does it sound like it could be a process of truth? What I try to do is because this is how I understand. There's already a whole bunch of accepted truth. So I just first start with, I'm not going to reinvestigate everything you say, but does what you say match over here somewhere that I don't have to investigate?
Yeah.
Like if you say capitalism sucks, I don't every single time gotta reinvestigate.
Right.
I just go, capitalism sucks. I already know something about capitalism. Oh, yes, it does.
This fits the information I already have.
So that's what I'm saying. I try to do a shortcut. So I end up, and I read an article about it too. I end up believing a lot of things very fastly. Like, they go, how do you believe stuff so fast? Because it makes fucking sense. That's why. Yeah. I take what you said and I put it to, just like I read stuff on trying to think about and figure out ancient languages and how they connect, because I know there is a pattern and it does relate to how religion spread and stuff. And so it interests me. I've already, in a sense, stopped the book, but it still interests me because I still don't totally know exactly how these things connect. And these languages, and I'm getting close. There's a whole bunch of theories where other people think we're already thinking these linguistically, but I understand like the DNA and pattern movements of people and cultures. And then when you put it with the languages they think they did, because it's really interesting. Just so you say, the Axiological languages like Finland and stuff, and Siberia and Russia, these languages supposedly come out about 7,000 years ago. Indo-European, about 7,000 years ago.
Okay.
The one that has to do with Asian languages and Japonic, I can't remember what it's called exactly. It's about 7,000 years ago.
Okay.
The language that it's the northern Siberians near Lake Balka and all the way to the Danes in Arizona are connected. Okay, about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago.
Okay.
So, and they almost all relate to Siberia near Lake Balka as a possible, in a sense, connected homeland.
Interesting.
And I do know that about 7,000 years ago, there was some people that went from there and did end up in Arizona and did end up in all kinds of parts of Europe and down to Africa and stuff. So, but here, I don't know exactly when all those people moved. I do know they went from here, started at this time, 7,500 or whatever, and they all ended up all over the place. And pyramids followed them, and kinds of culture followed them. And I do have a feeling that, but
that's kind of where a lot of languages came from, sort of thing.
That is what I'm thinking. I'm
thinking,
because there's even a guy that thinks that, and I think that he's probably correct, that because there's different ones. So there's one almost for sure. Okay, the ones in Lake Balka, which is in North Siberia, above Mongolia, above China, in a sense.
Okay,
it's like it's almost straight up. I don't. You may probably not know, but it's very famous. The world's deepest lake, whatever.
Okay,
it's very important for religion and for like shamanism and spread of culture and language. One of the reasons is by 6,000 years ago, I know they were having like kind of like powwow things, whatever, like big get-togethers where they were doing cultural stuff, and different like clans or groups probably got together. And I think this is how they spread the language. This is how they spread technology, like pyramids and stuff. I don't think it's that. That's like poor people. Like one thing went around, and did everything. No,
that's not actually even necessary.
I do not think that is what happened. I think that several groups passed it, and there's limited of who originally did, but I think a lot of it was transferred, not just people. It's both, and some of them, like there's a whole bunch of words sort of that match Indo-European and Ukrainic. Even some of the religion. You look at the religion, that kind of matches. Like the Ukrainic people have something that's almost like Thor, and so they have these different stuff that you can see that there's absolutely connected. I really think that they're deeply connected. But anyway, so there's ones that already say this, and it's important to me because I'm trying to figure out what's really true. The problem, as I already do know, is that the ideas were going back and forth. So it was one way, everything, and one way, everything. And because I think it was like starts in Israel, goes to Turkey, invents a religion, goes to Europe, goes to India from Iran, goes from Iran to China, then from China goes back by 9,000 years ago and gives a different version. And then they go maybe 7,000 something over, and then 6,000 something, they're coming back.
Okay.
Even more aggressive, violent version, And then hold on. Then 5,000 the white people go from Europe over to China
Back.
and practically take over half of China, especially on the east, the west side, right? Yeah, west side. I'm trying to think.
Right.
West side of China. I was trying to think. Like, Terran Basin and stuff. Those Terran mummies, they're white and red hair and had like Celts and all that kind of.
Okay.
Like they were Celts in a sense, but they were proto-Celts because they'd gone way before. They're like the Afro-Gennado culture or something. I pronounced that wrong, but
oh, that's interesting.
People, man, I know what I'm talking about. I read this long ass name like, whoo, okay, I bet that.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
But here's the thing. I never said that I was trying to teach people actual archaeology. I am trying to just figure out what's the truth of religion in amongst all this, shit.
Right. Yeah. Where did all this various ideas in religion come from?
Right. Because the reason I want to help people to get that it's human. Right. It's man-made, or man-made, whatever. But I don't like that word man-made because woman-made, person-made, whatever. I just like, anyways. Like I just saw something that said something about men created something about people created pottery. And I changed the title.
Yeah.
As I posted it, I was like, yeah, I'm not putting that.
Yeah.
First off, here's the thing. I don't know about all pottery, but I do know. And I can't remember now if it's 5,000 or to 3,000 or something. There's a certain time in Greek pottery that it was almost exclusively women.
Okay.
And they were sending that pottery out like the over the Aegean and stuff or something. It was something like that. But maybe it was 4,000, 3,000. Anyways, but my point is, it was all women, and there's certainly no reason to think that something that was the gatherer portion of the hunter-gatherer would be done by a man. Let's say that because it was the hunter-gatherer. So hunters is like the bow and arrows and the spears and the hunting stuff,
sure.
and then axes and where. Then you have the other stuff, which is the gathering, which involves baskets or pottery and stuff. And also sometimes animal husbandry. Especially like in Çatalhöyük, they which is like the first city, sort of like it's also to me a religious city because the whole city, like every house practically has a temple in it. So so that's why I call it the first religious built city because like almost every. What's interesting is someone showed me they looked at it because I've been looking at it a lot, and I hadn't really thought about it, but they saw that but Damien, you said they're all equal, but they can't be. Some of these houses have bigger shrines. That's true. So I started thinking, but then I started realizing too that at a certain point, Çatalhöyük changes. So it starts, I think, egalitarian, and they say it's the climate change. I have a feeling that climate change pushed the northern people down, because right at the climate change, there's a climate event at 8,200 years ago. It's called the 8,200 event or whatever. Where everything got colder. And so the people from the north would see this is almost because pottery gets for sure to like the Middle East in a big way at 7,500 years ago. Okay. So, but there's pottery in Çatalhöyük that is 8,000 something. 8,500, I think is. And it has like 8,000-year-old evidence of cheese. This is very important because the northern people on the steppe are the ones that did the milk and the cheese. That is a culture from the steppes. Okay. They brought that behavior down because you understand they brought down making cheese and stuff, that whole mentality, because they would take milk, right, and they would put it inside like a bladder or whatever of a stomach, but there's acids in there. And that would actually, as they're riding and shaking, they're making cheese on their horse without even, in a sense. Okay.
Without having to do the actual labor to do it.
Well, yeah. Well, my point is, I think it was an accident. I think it was a accident. Like somebody stored milk and was hot sun riding their horse.
Right.
the stomach acids, and it turns it into cheese. Anyways, so but there's definitely evidence of residues by that time, milk and cheese. I think that those are the northern people, and I think it's like 8,000 or 7,800 or something when not flaxseed, there's millet, because I think millet originates in China, like I think 10,000 years ago or something, or 9,000, and then it's already, that's what I'm saying, it shows those people came over. It's already in the Balkans area by, like I said, I think it's like 8,000 or something. So it's almost, it matches pottery. Pottery shows up at that time. So does the Chinese DNA. So does the Chinese ideas. Or I should say, the Chinese by way of the steppe.
Okay.
And that's also, I think it's called the Sinto-Tibetan language. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, but there was a time too where I'm thinking about it. But the whole steppe, in a sense, for a long time was like one culture, the same tool culture.
Okay.
So they know they're all related, even though, and I think that's what people don't get, that the religion, it passed through the steppe in a way that could have never happened below. It would have taken centuries or thousands of years for it to happen, and it happened like in hundreds, because they would just shoot across the like the Mongols, shoot across the steppe and start attacking everybody.
That's interesting.
It is interesting to me. The biggest thing to me is that it also makes me realize all these religions that think they're so separate and so different, they are different versions of a kind of a generic architecture religion.
Right.
That kind of starts in Turkey, gets like some changes in the Balkans, gets some more changes in China, then gets more changes again when it hits the Middle East and Egypt again. So I mean, it just keeps changing, but it's in a sense, and goes to the Americas, and has more of a, in a sense, a purified form in the Americas, sort of, because it's sort of before these other types of ideas. But then again, over in the Americas, they're going and hitting cultures that have been shamans there for some of them for almost 20,000 years or 30,000 years,
right?
Or at least 12,000 years when the big, a bunch of came in, who definitely were shamanists and totemists and animists.
Right.
One of those versions, or one, or all. But anyway, so then you have these later, shaman and totemist paganists coming in. So now these are paganists. There wasn't paganists before, now they're coming in. I consider it like polytheistic nature worship, is paganism, which I really feel like even our, like, say, Christianity, it is a pagan religion to me that is, in a sense, an advanced version of it. Mm-hmm. A monotheistic, like, offshoot of it. So I'm not saying it has to directly relate to the amount of deities, but generally paganists are polytheistic in a sense.
Right.
But like, this one guy argues, "Oh, Damien, no, that's only Roman paganism and Greek paganism," and I'm like, okay, Roman and Greek are Indo-European languages. Indo-European languages can show that those gods have a connecting set of gods that go back 7,000 years.
Right.
To Ukraine. So I don't know what you want to talk about, but they know that already. That's a fact. So to
isolate it in Roman and Greek is really
so
it's missing the point.
Versions, like this person will say, well, they're synchronized. That's where like religions kind of blend together, and that happened too. I'm not saying it did absolutely happen all the fucking time. The blending of shit with it, but. That doesn't mean their core thing weren't already similar to begin with. They started with similar, and then they the Romans took a lot of the Greeks. Yeah, but the Greeks, took their stuff from the people from Crete. People from Crete took some of their stuff from the Middle East, some stuff from Babylon, from Lebanon, and from Egypt, and from Turkey. So they had their own little mix of stuff, plus a couple of Indo-Europeans also beliefs. Because I think they have a storm god and stuff, so and a earth goddess. So they have all these things. I used to think like the Crete's religion. I'm like, yeah, okay, Crete's religion, several kinds of religion made it their religion. and they're an offshoot of a thing that was already existing. It's like languages. The languages split off. It doesn't make the old languages non-existent.
Right. Yeah.
So
it takes a long time for the old version to die off after the new version has been come into being.
Right. And so and just like the Chinese ones, they know that they're worshiping birds 7,000 years ago. It's in writing. I mean, they know this, and they believed in spirits and stuff, which is later, and I could show that is the Thunderbird.
Okay.
In a sense, that's what they're worshiping, and it has to do with the sunbird, and anyways, and that still relates to all the bird myths in general. To me, they're all like connected. And that to me is really profound, like I said, because then the hatred of these religions with each other just seems a lot less important. And lots.
Yeah.
Like, my God, people, you all could have believed like the same shit.
Yeah.
So
you're really not enemies.
Humbling.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to be traditional, well, I can actually now teach you what that tradition was.
Yeah, it's interesting because like it's how a lot of like fascist groups, they like to adopt like say a Norse mythology as aesthetically, right? And they consider that like they use the symbology, and they like to say like, okay, this is our Puritan Aryan whatever nonsense, but then they completely have no connection to the history of it.
Yeah. Well, and certainly the Norse myths absolutely are connected to Axiology.
Right.
Massively. I mean, massively to me. And the Axiology relates to all the people from Siberia, including all the indigenous Siberians.
Right.
So you're worshiping an indigenous religion, unless that bothers you. I mean,
yeah, unless that bothers you.
I don't know. It wouldn't. If I was going to worship a religion, that wouldn't bother me, but I guess. But if you're bigoted and racist and you don't want to be the Eskimos or whatever is the religion you have, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah,
Eskimos. Right. But it's actually, I think, halfway in the Siberia to all the way to Finland and all that. That's the whole language, sort of.
Okay.
Halfway, which is I guess halfway of Russia. I just call it Siberia, whatever. Because Russia is the European part, and the whole Asian part is Siberia, and all of
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's always how they kind of class. I think about that way, anyways. But I'm just saying, but the people like the far north that still live like hunting caribou or whatever, or those people are the ones that have. Especially the ones in the center and north of Siberia probably have the truest version, I would say. Yeah, but it depends. True version. I think
I've right. Whatever that means.
A version, a less Eurocentric version.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way. That's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah. Farther away from the European adaptations.
Yes, because that's where it started. In a sense, it started in as an Asian thing, and it became later. People could see it as, like you said, Nordic and all that, like the Vikings. Yeah, all those people. Yeah, they all are doing that same thing. Just go read what the Axiological religion is, and it sounds like they're just saying half of it's practically or just is Norse. I mean, it practically like. A lot of that sounds like Norse stuff. I mean,
right.
Way more than it does Germanic. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Germanic is more the Celt version of the Indo-Europeans than, in a sense, the Sami is more the Axiological.
Okay.
Northerners. But like I said, I there was one guy that believes they both started, around the same time. It's possible to me that maybe when the people came in at 8,500 and you see them in Chadwick, maybe they brought Indo-European in and gave it to them when they did pottery. And I already know that 9,000 years ago, they got symbols they're making in northern China. So they're already doing a form of, in a sense, symbolic writing.
Right, right.
And then later writing gets to the Middle East. I really think that this, and I know these people are interacting, and eventually, it's not that every single person brings every single thing. It's
Right.
that these ideas are flowing back and forth. The way before the Silk Road, there's already a lot of stuff going on.
Right. Travel was happening, and
A lot of travel across the steppe, especially, and that's how you go like thousands of miles. It's here and then here, you know, almost same stuff. It's it's getting transferred, but the thing is that this stuff gets transferred and gets changed, and then people call it different religious names. So a lot of people get mad, you know, even archaeologists, like when I kind of like loosely group religions together. But to me, I do kind of see them loosely grouped together. I don't see them as like they see it, because they'll go, and I just one anthropologist friend of mine, he goes, Damien, you know, it's like the bow. The bow was invented like all kinds of times all over the world. And I was like, how do you know that? Just because it shows up all over the world? He goes, yes, it shows up all over the world, and they couldn't have come from a regular one source. I go, how do you know that? I mean, so I feel like sometimes, because it's interesting, I don't want to be mean. I feel like they're not. I'm really trying to say this in a thoughtful way. I feel like there's a higher skepticism for proving stuff is connected than there is a rationalism of seeing the evidence that it is connected.
right.
Because they immediately go back to that it doesn't seem like it could happen. Yeah, but that is a nonsense. What? Now, then
Like, that's not a reason that it can't.
To the moon. Now you're talking. If you say, saw someone get across land, we know people. Homo erectus was all the way in, you know,
Right.
like Fiji or somewhere. Anyways, but remember, we made Homo. What is that? I can't remember what it's called. The little small one, like the Hobbit thing. Anyways, that was a version of the Homo erectus that made it. No, well, the Soviets too, but they're also a version of branches off of other stuff. But I'm just saying, so people were there. There was way before humans. Moving around was like a common thing. Not saying it didn't take a long time before, but there also ideas are easier when there's not that many people, and also see people don't realize people stop us. Like say if you're going across Canada, you're gonna hit a lot more people that interrupting you, whether it's cars and stuff and houses and
Right.
roads and so. But if there's no people, it's a lot easier to go places. You know, so I mean,
It's kind of a straight line almost.
well, because I think that people think of like the 7 billion people now have always existed or something. It's just absolutely ridiculous because I think it was like 78,000 or 75,000 years ago. There was only like anywhere from 2,000 to 20.
Right. Wow.
Humans.
Yeah. Much smaller number. So
Very easy to pass the single religion
Yeah.
to very few people. And if you teach 20 people or 2,000 relative people to do the bow and arrow, they go all over the world. Bow and arrow ends up all over the world. And it started 70,000 years ago in Africa. Whoa. So you try to tell me that it started 7,000 years in Africa, but everywhere that the Africans went, that they ended up with the bow, they had to remake every time? I mean, but yet they still had the same tool technology that you acknowledge went all over and they kept morphing and changing and going, but not everything, just some stuff. That's why I think it's weird. Language moves, pottery moves, and then they're like, yeah, people move. And I go like, yeah, so religion moved. And they're like, no, we can't say that. I'm like, what?
yeah, it seems like for some reason there's a roadblock within the thinking there.
Right, I think they give sacredness. It goes back to like sacred people or worshiping things. They make religion somehow sacred. It is not. It is no different. We can branch that shit like we can do language or any fucking other. It's a genus and we can figure it out. I'm not saying I'm going to personally do it. Don't give a fuck. Someone could, and a lot better than I've seen some of them using a lot of the data, especially with all the computers and stuff that we have. We absolutely could. But the problem is a lot of stuff is thrown around and people don't acknowledge its importance. Don't, like I said, people, there's cheese at Chattahoyok. Oh, there's cheese almost 8,000 years ago. Oh, and then after that, there was this oppressive culture where people got banged in the head. And then everybody left. Oh, it must have been climate change. You're like, new culture shows up, new food, new wing of the area, because all the pottery is only found on the west wing, as far as I remember now. There's someone was saying, or something I read, I think. Don't know that exactly, but it was the west area that there was something found. But anyways, there certainly is, like I said, leaders or something shows up and people start getting hit. And of course, I'm not saying that climate change didn't make the people move.
Right.
And maybe even make them more bloodthirsty and hungry.
Almost certainly.
And I do know that's that reminded me. I realized when college, when they first told me about the hierarchy of needs. You ever heard of that?
Yep.
So the hierarchy of needs, so you need certain things like, food and shelter and stuff before you can do stuff like self-evaluation.
Right.
which is why I made that comment before. It's so easy to be billionaire, Richard Branson, and say some kind of a quote. Dame, I could probably come up with 30 quotes a day if all I had to do was freaking eat caviar and sit on a yacht.
Yeah. All of my needs are not just met, but exceeded. So.
Yeah, exceeded beyond worldly comprehension.
Yeah.
It's so exceeded. I mean, I could just, this and this. And I could just sit there and just think about any fucking thing. That reminds me of this one comedian talks about buying the sex lives of fruit flies.
Okay.
And he said, I had to buy it because I thought, who the fuck would write a whole book about that? but he goes, because we're curious creatures. He goes, we just have to know shit. But it is true. I do agree that we are curious and we do want to know the dumbest, weirdest shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I also feel like we're also the stupidest fucking idiot creatures that choose not to think often. Because we'll do that, right? He'll buy a book, or someone made it, a book on the sex lives of the fruit fly, right? But yet, when you tell them facts about religion, they don't want to hear it, or they hear it with some sort of blindness, how somehow it doesn't invalidate their shit they believe.
Right, yeah.
And it's like with capitalism. You tell people the harms of it, like, oh, well, there's some good stuff too.
Well, yeah, there's that quote. There's like, it's easier to envision the end of the world than it is the end of capitalism.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to just go enjoy your own fucking life right now.
And my wife goes, you need to enjoy your life fucking now. Yeah, well, we need to do that. And I also think that we need to start to inspire people to want to make this a better life. Because this is bullshit. And I just it would be better for me wanting to be a historical writer to not be political at all.
right,
Truly.
Yeah, of course.
Certainly not come out as a far fucking leftist.
Yeah.
No, I've especially because it's the one thing. People on the right, the moment they hear that, almost will never read anything I have, which is sad.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I have some good shit, man. That anybody, religious or otherwise, would be impressed with, and it would be sad that only because of a bigotry. And so,
yeah, it's one of those things we joke about. If we were to we could probably say things like we say now, but if we said, oh, but actually I left the left, I'm a capitalist now.
Yeah.
Then we would suddenly have a more receptive audience, and probably more donations coming in. Right?
Well, definitely, because I totally agree. Well, I guess I don't make anybody give donations on my thing. It's totally open. I say if you give it enough of me, I will do stuff different for you. But I mean, and I have some people to give. In fact, one guy gave me $50. He stopped now, but he was giving me $50 a month. And I said that, he can talk with me or whatever. He's like, no, I just wanted to support you. And
Right.
I really think, yeah, I mean, to me, and I think like that is important, supporting each other.
Yeah.
And I think that it reminds me, like I said to you before, that people say like, oh, well, this person is doing like a lot and this other person is doing nothing. Going back to classing evaluations of people.
Right. As though,
told you.
yeah.
The problem is gigantically, the whole world or whatever. I even if I had every answer, could not possibly do it alone.
Right.
Can't.
Yeah.
Can't. And an idea is worthless without the momentum behind it of other people. So it still is. You don't do it.
Yeah. Nobody does anything without other people. Like.
Yeah. But there really is a cult of belief that somehow they do. That they're it reminds me of what supports capitalism. It's an entitled selfishness. Yeah, but it's for me.
The rugged individualism of I did this without any support, without anything, but nobody's ever done any.
But then that same person will get pissed when their whole entire, like I knew one guy, his whole he was working at a toy company, and they moved the entire warehouse to China. So they just fired everybody.
Right.
And he was all pissed, and I said, well, that's capitalism.
Yep.
Fucking cheaper. They're going to go where it's cheaper. They don't give a shit about you.
Yep.
You mean nothing.
I mean, you can have a real conversation about globalization and the effect it has on laborers and wages and workers' rights. But if you're going to be pro-capital, or even worse, like laissez-faire capitalism, then you have to just accept that China produces labor cheaper, and your company is going to go there.
Right, or Mexico, or whatever.
Yeah, or anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But somewhere without the same labor laws.
But what's weird is then, I know it's just so weird to me about capitalism, so sickening. Because then the people, right, that have done this, like the move to China, they don't then thank the Chinese workers for working harder.
No,
they treat them worse.
Yeah,
like now
exactly.
we can really treat you like the full slave we think you are.
We really prefer to not have to care about whether or not you live or die. Yeah.
It's like you're jumping out of windows. Does that affect the bottom line?
Are you replaceable?
Well, then why am I talking about it?
Yeah, exactly. If you're replaceable, nobody cares.
But and it's replaceable because for a thing that cares about value, they devalue humans and devalue labor.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really don't understand how there's such a thing of putting down all the different elements of labor. It's like I said before, it's like one picks on the other. Everybody at a higher rank picks on the lower ones.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, and I think that's a product of like the culture that like the propaganda. I probably use that term too much, but that's the propaganda.
I don't think so.
We've been told that
I push propaganda. That's what I tell all the time.
Right.
I don't have no problem with that. I push fucking atheist, leftist, freaking humanist propaganda, all the fucking scientific propaganda all the time. Because you know what propaganda to me is? It is a well orchestrated pushing or motivating of an idea. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment if that idea is freaking helpful or not. So I do agree that we shouldn't always saying the propaganda is good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
unfortunately
just like a vehicle of rhetoric in a sense that
it's
like a meme. A meme in a sense is just the package of idea. Not
it can be true or false, or it can be
Yeah.
helpful or unhelpful.
doesn't really you don't axiologically they're like, okay, I still need to know more because I haven't heard anything that gives me my evaluation.
Right.
Just saying a thing. Okay, there's a thing. I have a job. It's a laborer.
Yeah.
But the problem
What else?
Our society goes laborer. Oh, so they're a lower class.
In what industry?
It already thinks, well, you're not white collar.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Just the word laborer. They are also doing labor, aren't they? Or maybe they're not. So fuck them. They shouldn't even be involved in, right? Or how about this? Certainly, shouldn't they be below the laborer?
Maybe. It's because we have this tendency, we've been conditioned to put everything into these hierarchies, right? Like, so once you say labor, people assume you're lower than the management or petty bourgeois, like you're lower than the managerial class. And okay,
but
what industry do you
why?
work in? Oh,
Why?
yeah,
Because they have what? The money or the job? I mean, because
they get paid more, right?
But why do they get paid more? Let's just say that they do labor. They work 8 hours, you work 8 hours. I don't understand why they get paid so much more. And they're not the one doing it. So, well, they're doing a job. Great. Yes, I agree. But so are the other people doing a job.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the rationalization might be. They might say that the reason a manager gets paid more is because they're more responsible for the overall effects.
But that's just one unit of job, and the other one is totally responsible for what they're doing. In fact, it reminded me, they had this, I worked at a plastic company talking about people's responsibility. They felt I was at the bottom. I was just the bag cutter thing. I did it over. I'm just supposed to watch the prints. That sounds like dumbass. Just watch the prints that they don't, do something weird, and then if they do, stop them real quick while the real print master person is taking a break or whatever. I was an assistant or whatever.
Okay.
The press assistant. I don't know what they call it, but anyways, I would just make sure that there's enough ink and just basic shit. Anyways, but see, while he's doing that, a couple times I wasn't paying attention. Fucked up. So all of a sudden, my job did matter because it's fucking hours. Yeah. We had to stop the fucking thing, cut all the rollers, come out and cut all this plastic, right? Take all this shit, take over and put it in the for recycling. Wasted the ink too, right? So
right.
Oh, fucking just nightmare. My point is, though, all of a sudden my job didn't matter because, boy, if I made a mistake, it could be a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's interesting because, okay, so my job, I deal with oil and various other fluids, right?
Yeah.
And so if I screw up and say overfill a tank,
right,
it makes a giant mess and it contaminates the soil around us or like the dirt.
Which I know is not a good thing.
No, that's right. And I'm the low man on the totem pole, right? Like I'm the person who is considered the most replaceable, but the job I do is the one that has the biggest impact if I screw up. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Right. That's all I was saying is that people, when they assess jobs, that often their evaluation is only what they can benefit off of you.
Right. Yeah.
Not really like, how important is your job? It might be more important than you think. Like you were talking about important, like someone who's a janitor is important, obviously. Yeah. Just like, say, a janitor at that job. We did have a person, they got mad because I cleaned in my area. Because I was just sitting there waiting for this shit to fucking, and they said, you cannot do that because that's for the janitors. Because it was union.
Okay. I mean,
I wasn't union. But I'm not judging. I'm just explaining.
Yeah.
That was told, do not touch and do another man's work.
Yeah.
Anyways. So I was like, I'm just sitting here. That's fine. Sorry. But to me, my area being clean mattered because if stuff gets in the ink, if stuff gets in on the roller or it can make all the prints bad. So it's like really important, and we're constantly making trash. So we're constantly like cutting things, and paper's falling, and I got to clean all this up myself, or I got to wait for this person to come.
Right.
I felt like it was ineffective. I was like, okay, I'm not against unions, but I am against it. Why is it that then they see is it that person's fault? I think they needed more cleaning people. If you're going to have someone to clean for me, The answer is not make me obligated then to do it if you're going to have somebody. It's that the company was cheap and only had one person doing, say, multiple things.
Yeah.
And of course, he does all of them. Then he comes back. But by the time he comes back, there's more trash.
Yeah.
I needed gone. It could have, and just think, it could have caused the problem. It could have contaminated something, but they care what the most about is the money.
Yeah.
It's just that's, I think, that in general, just capitalism in general, it could be nicer. I'm serious. I think about all kinds of jobs. I just think, I can tell us one job I was at. I said, do you know if every morning you said the driver you thought was the greatest that day or something, or do you don't know how much people just like to be appreciated? I do not understand why capitalism has such, but I know it's part of the class thing. You don't deserve anything.
Right.
Because I at first I totally didn't get it. I kept going, I understand. Because I told him, look, it would cost you nothing. And actually, it costs us 5 cents to send the message out. I was like, to each truck. So it's 5 cents times 3,000 trucks.
Well, that's worth it, honestly.
And
if
I
you're
was
going to
like,
increase productivity,
right. But see, I was like, we're fucking pennies when you can actually make humans feel better.
Yeah.
Humans not worth pennies. And
that's the thing that the thing that capitalists have seemed to have ignored or missed somewhere along the line is that people who feel good and feel fulfilled and feel happy about the place they work actually produce better outcomes and can make you more money. But instead they're like, no, we have to drive them like, slaves and treat them like shit. And, we don't get to value our workers or make them feel good because we have to keep them moving. But if I feel rested, if I feel well, then I will do my job better. And that's just
just think like that reminds me of, well, who was it that says I treat my workers like me? It was the Amazon dude.
Oh yeah.
I try to treat people how I want to be treated. Bullshit. Everybody would be rich then.
Yeah, that's right.
How you want to be treated. Yeah, I want to do jewelry, and I was thinking, man, what if when I get old, if I still need or want to do income, I can teach someone. I was trying to think, how can I do it, even in this society now with all kinds of limitations? How can I make it the coolest, best thing that person's ever done?
Right.
Because like you said, I'm not thinking of how can I exploit this motherfucker and take them for everything they have, and make them work for fucking free, which I feel like a lot of the capitalists, their first thought is, how can I rob you more and then make you feel bad while I do it? Because that's even what's more special about it. Not only do I put you in this position, I then call you names and make you fucking feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how anyone has ever been okay with this.
That's right.
I mean, even if you don't want it to be socialist, how could you be okay with capitalism?
Yeah, just the way it is. Yeah. I joke. Well, I talk to a lot of guys who work on like drilling rigs and service rigs and stuff, because that's the industry I'm in. But they talk about going on their first rig and how the guys would, they'd bully them, they'd make fun of them, they'd call them names, they'd send them for tools that don't exist, or they'd tell them for
right, they abuse them.
Basically, yeah, they'd abuse them.
They did it in trucking too.
And somehow this became part of the culture where, like, okay, now we just abuse the new guy, and he just, he grows up in that and he abuses the next new guy. And instead of somebody just going like, hey, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, why are we abusing each other? And we should be in solidarity with each other.
The truth is, they do that and just think, who does that benefit? That non-solidarity, does that benefit the workers to be a non-solidarity? Of
course not. Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm just saying, if people just, and like the companies are like, oh, you shouldn't want to have solidarity. Is that what a company would say, or what an employee would say? I mean, if I asked you, would you like to be at odds with all of your other workers, or feeling like an outcast or alienated from certain positions or people, or would you like to all be equals and all work together in harmony?
Yeah, like that the corporate line of calling everybody a team or a family. I mean, it's bullshit coming from the corporate leaders, but a group of men and women working together
A group of people that could be non-gender.
Yeah, also
Binary,
non-gender.
gender
Yeah,
binary,
yeah,
or
no,
whatever.
that's right. Yeah, my mistake. People working together.
Oh, it was
should,
not my mistake. You just forgot to add.
Fair. They should be working together as a family or as a team. Like they should view each other as brothers, sisters, and non-binary siblings, right? Like it shouldn't be.
That's why I just say people. I don't like that sister stuff.
That's fair.
I'm just saying how
Which
I try
is-
to correct my own language.
which is,
I just say people,
A lot of people like to use the term comrades.
right? Which I like I
We
said,
should work together as comrades.
if you, but Cory, if you called me comrade, it's not like I would get angry. I'm cool
Right.
with that. I'm just making the point that I feel like everyone, that's like someone said, oh, look at this. And I do, feel some of the similar feelings. I see people on the right dying of COVID. I do in my sick part of my brain go, you deserve it. But in my humanistic, reality brain, it goes, that's not okay to feel that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they did or did not do. Me, I am responsible for me. And the fact that we would feel such glee at death, it's not right. I'm different than them. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not like these freaking people. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you know? Because I'm nothing like them. That's how.
Because I behave in a different way. Yeah.
Look at my life now, and it's very evident that's absolutely not who I am.
Yeah.
And so, but there is a character difference. And just like I feel you're not them, I really dig you and like you. And I feel like you have a lot to offer.
I appreciate that. It's one of these, like, I feel like we are all siblings in a sense, right? Like we are all comrades. We are all, and even
if you said that, I'd be fine with it. If we're all comrades, I'm fine with that.
We are all comrades.
Humans are all comrades, and we should all work together. I'm cool with, but only saying that some of us are comrades, and ones that are not deserve death, or their death can be laughed at. I just feel like, is that who we are? Like I said, that's what I was telling you about Anarcho-Humanism. To me, my sick side would love to torture people, right? Or something. I'm not saying I do, but I'm just making a comment, or that they're being tortured would not,
wouldn't bother,
cause me grief if and I'm like anyone else, if they're political or whatever, someone I didn't like. But I think, am I like them?
Right.
Do I really rejoice in others' suffering? Is that a good person who does? Do I want to be? That's what I told you. To me, I got to come back to that. And it has to be, that's what I was trying to say to people, that you could be an anarcho-humanist too, because it doesn't remove any kind of other anarchist. I mean, I guess you got to be an anarchist. I would be a humanist, I guess. So I guess you got to be those things. But any other kind of things you are politically, it's not against, unless you were against being humanist and you're a capitalist. I guess those would be the, and that those, because actually capitalist is harmful. So I don't know how you could be a humanist and say, personally. In fact, I was at a humanist conference and they were going off, almost sounding like anti-capitalist. It was beautiful. I loved it. But this one guy comes up and goes, well, I don't want it to be known that humanists are or capitalists or something, because I'm a capitalist. And everyone was quiet.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I guess maybe I have the minority opinion. Everyone's still quiet. I was like, damn.
Nice.
Woo, good. So, but it goes back to what I said. So I think it's, even if they are living in capitalism, it doesn't sound like they're favoring it.
Right.
So, but that's what I'm just saying. That's why I'm saying I don't see where my anarcho-humanism really isn't like almost all humanism. That's the point, is we are different. I don't care fuck who they are. Right. Sick bastards sometimes, some of them. But who am I? Am I also a sick bastard? I'm just the sick bastard on our side? I don't want to be that.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. And we do see that a lot on the left, is like, we see a lot of that.
Because it is easy.
Right.
They do it, but that doesn't make it right. And that's all I'm saying about I want to be an anarcho-humanist. It matters to me. It fucking matters. In fact, it matters more than my anarchism. matters more than my socialism or being a good human.
Yeah.
Period. So if my thinking would be that they're not like us, and I then feel it's great that they get suffer, I don't want to have that opinion.
Right.
I don't want to feel it's okay. And even if I feel it, I want to talk to myself and go, Damien, that is not okay. That's what I was trying to say before about saying I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit, unlike some people, because I get fucking sick random thoughts of violence. It's generally violence. It's generally towards men, not towards women, but often it's just fucking random.
Right.
You know, like it's just my head, you know, it's especially if it gets aggressive. If someone's aggressive to me, it's like instant. It's like PTSD response. But my point is, I don't want to do that, and I don't even want to make it okay to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So I really hold myself to a freaking high standard.
Yeah, that's fair.
And part of that, like you said about calling myself a piece of shit, is realizing we got to be honest. You know what a good person compared to me doesn't have those things, doesn't think harm people. That's a good, they don't fucking think about that shit. I do. But my behavior is a good person. That's what I was trying to say. I don't buy that you cannot be good.
Right.
You fucking choose not to. Well, if it's hard, it is hard. Who the fuck said it was easy? I didn't say good is easy. I said good is necessary. Good is valuable. Good must be fucking done.
Yeah.
Do the fucking needful. That's why I wrote that one thing. Do the needful. It doesn't say do the easy. You know what I'm saying? Do what is needed.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. What should I do? People always ask that. What should I do? Do what is needed. That's what you should do. It's that simple. Well, what's needed? You know, because there's something that only you probably are aware of, or maybe you and some people, but not everybody. Then that's what you should do. Yeah. And that's like I said, why I realized there has to be a focus about humanism. We got to rein everybody in, even the left, and say, no, talking about killing people on the right is just as much bullshit as if they talk about killing us. It's fucking wrong. We shouldn't be being like that. I mean, are we different or not? I do not want, socialism by way of fucking genocide. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's right. The point of, I believe in abolishing the carceral justice system. I don't want to replace that with a justice system that just imprisons people that disagree with me, right?
Or kills them. Because I heard one
them.
person, because I told one person, I said, see, I don't want prison. I want mental health. That's what I want. I think that all crime, especially if needs are met, crime is a mental health issue to me. Whether it's not being able to like say if someone hurts their spouse or something, that is a counseling issue,
Right.
Not just
there's something going on there, right?
There's people like putting them in jail. They need to go to counseling, or they need help. They need, there's your kid is stealing. Why? Does he food's met? Well, then what does he need? Is his other needs met? Why is he stealing? Or she or they? Why are they stealing? I'm just saying that instead of thinking immediately, oh, well, the kid is bad. The thing is, we got, even if they are. So let's just say the kid's bad. I don't know why our next thought isn't, because it's usually mean in our capitalist world, but in a real world where humanism is involved, it should be, and what can we do to help? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Why is it not, well, then fuck them, hope they suffer and die? Should be, what can I do to help?
I just saw a perfect example of that. Like there was somebody posting about a truck driver they knew, and they said, oh, I see this truck driver. They post TikToks all the time and they post Snapchats all the time, and they're doing it in their truck. And should I call the cops? And everybody in the comment thread is like, yeah, throw the book at them. They should be off the road. They shouldn't have, this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, okay, what they're doing is wrong, but can we, maybe we can do this in a way that doesn't involve them losing their livelihood or losing their, calling the authorities, because I don't like calling the cops on people. Right.
Well, yeah, I don't like the police. I don't hate them. I feel like that they also are workers in a position of capitalism. So I mean, I just feel like that they are the arm that's hurting us often, and not doing as much helping. Just like the thing when they found out all those rape kits that they weren't even testing for like many years. It just shows the absolute bullcrap. Because it reminds me of, they go, oh, well, we need police for these things. And I go, then we need some different kind of security that's not going everywhere. If you say, I mean, still, I don't buy that we need what we have. What we have is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just like I said, if a domestic issue, why isn't a counselor going out there? They're better, or someone's homeless. Homeless person is naked and not doing it. I think a social worker needs to show up, not someone with a gun.
Yeah, a police officer, a cop isn't solving a homelessness issue by, going and arresting a homeless person who's on a bench somewhere or whatever, right? Like, that's not solving anything. That's just hurting somebody.
Well, and it just shows that we don't have the system that really is set up to do that, right? Because we're not ethical.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, an ethical, like I was saying, if we looked at a tribe somewhere in another place, right, that people consider primitive, and they didn't care for their elderly or their children, we would go, oh, look at that, man. They're not advanced like our society.
Yeah, look how awful they treat their elderly.
It's classism bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, I
don't know, man.
Blows
me away.
But it is important to make people think. It is important to talk about stuff, because I know people, they obviously do not think about the stuff that we say. I mean, or they don't care, I guess. I think they don't even think about it, because I talk to a lot of people, and it doesn't seem like that they're really aware. It's like they just want to get ahead or get by. And I understand, like I said before, making money. Really, I would have been fine just to get by. Always would have been fine with, and fine still kind of just to get by. I'm not,
I used to say back when I was young, I said, I just want to be able to make enough money to do whatever I want. And
right. Isn't it most people?
they think that that's an excessive amount, but that's not what I want. I just want to be able to eat and, live. I don't want to buy a mansion. I don't want to own a plane and fly all over the world. I just want to live and be able to, enjoy my life. So it doesn't take that much.
It's nice not to worry about where I live and food. Sure, basic.
Yeah.
But I really want that for everybody, though. That's my damn problem, is that I look at the rest of the world, because even if they said capitalism produces a utopia, and I would say, then the utopia needs to be added to more people, because why are the people that we get most of the products from not living in utopia?
Exactly. Yeah.
So even if I don't buy that this is utopia, but even if it is, why isn't this everywhere?
It's not utopia unless everybody has their
right. And well, that's because we can get cheaper products from there, right? So capitalism demands a low class suffering somewhere so that you can do okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why it has to be addressed. It has to be exposed. It has to be talked about. Like I said, even if it's not beneficial to my career trying to promote, my ideas or book. I don't know how. Once again, about being a good person, I don't know how a good person can fucking stay silent when atrocities are happening.
Yeah.
Then you're not a good person, I guess. If you can fucking be quiet and see shit that's horrid and do nothing, say nothing. Then are you sure that a good person label applies to you still? I mean, I just, because I thought a long time ago, I thought, I could have, toned myself down, not said, I don't have to tell people my politics. I could have just said, oh, well, I don't talk about it.
Right.
Choose to vote as I wish, or some, totally, plastic response. But instead, I was like, no, I have extreme ideas, and I realized that from people telling me that was anarchism. Then I thought, well, then, okay, I'm just an anarchist, because I didn't know that I didn't want to read and didn't really think that once I just a little bit, sound great. That's cool with me. Did not realize, and then people said they were anarchists, and then they started talking capitalist horseshit, and I
Wait, that's not right.
Immediately went to anarchism again. Wait a minute, maybe I don't believe this anarchism shit. What the fuck? And like, okay, I'm safe. They're the fools. Okay.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are getting it wrong. How like I said, I just did not even see how can you go hierarchy is not good. Let's instill it after.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't. It is internally inconsistent, right?
Right. Or I like to tell them is, well, if you're a real anarchist, then you'll agree with me that all the wealth before your new world has to be then redistributed, right? Yeah. I mean, you're not saying every king gets to be a king still. Otherwise, then what is anarcho?
Yeah, no, that's
capitalism.
Not it.
If everybody could still be a king with all the wealth and all the riches and all the shit they had before, the buildings and everything, and nothing,
then how is that?
Changes,
yeah.
Then what's changing?
Yeah.
Because I
think that anarchism in any way.
I think what they really want is they want to live in what's right now. They want to live in this.
Yeah.
But not pay taxes.
Yes.
And be able to look down on anybody who tries to take their job. That's all they need. It feels like. You know, because they still want cops to protect their shit, like their private property and all this stuff. So they want capitalism. They want businesses, and it's like,
yep.
What? Yeah, I don't. I just don't even think it's anarchism to me.
No. That's why I always try. Like I always refer to them as like right-wing libertarians, right? Like I always use that term because they really just. Yeah, they really just believe in like I don't want to pay taxes. That's all it is.
And I would say the exact opposite. I'll pay taxes if you're actually telling me that I get an equal share of the community and everyone else does too. Not just that Damien does and everyone else is fucked.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
No, but I'm for fair and equality, man. And I do know that we do have to consecutively together work for betterment.
Yep.
We just have to. So that's why I don't like capitalism too, because it pits people against each other trying to make money.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, and a lot of stuff that's not just bad, it's absolutely evil. I mean, like, I think, vaccines. Should that be a time for capitalism? Everyone agreed. Everyone almost in the world agreed. No.
Yeah, that's right. This is the time when we should be just
what distributing if we did that
them.
for food? And we said, if people don't get food, they're all going to die. So the world should just start giving free food, just like they gave free vaccine, free food to stop death. You know, but somehow that doesn't,
because I mean, I'm just speculating, but I think that the reason is because the disease that we could get if we don't have the vaccine is a threat to those who have the wealth and power. Us starving to death is not a threat to anybody except ourselves, right?
Right, very, very true. But see, that it shows its selfishness. It's greed. It's. I don't know how you could say that. Like I could go going back to that guy saying he was a capitalist humanist.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, obviously the entire convention did not agree. So 3,000 people got quiet.
That's fantastic.
I did not hear a whole amount of people on his defense. So
there was no like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well.
Good. That makes me really happy. Actually.
That actually made me really happy because I wasn't, I thought like the skeptics, atheists at that time, because a lot of people, especially online, act as if it all means the same thing.
Right.
These different communities were the same. And so I went to different conventions. For Skeptic Convention, I went to, that was probably my least favorite was a Skeptic Convention.
There are going to be some crossovers, right?
But not that it couldn't be. It's just the stuff like they did comic books, hate that shit. They did, like magic stuff, don't really care about it. They did, anyways, it was okay. It just wasn't, and they related stuff to like movies and stuff, and it was okay, but it was not. I that's not the kind of stuff I like. Let's put it that way. So I'm
Sure.
not making any judgment. That's just, if you like that stuff, and that's great. And I don't like any of that. So I was like bored
Right.
to that stuff. They're talking about that. I was like, whatever. So, I mean, then I went to, a humanist one, and I thought it was going to be just like an atheist one, and it was definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I went to in San Diego was pretty good. It was definitely way more leftist and stuff. And I thought, wow, this is great, man.
Yeah,
I
that's
started
awesome.
feeling really hopeful. Because especially online, it seemed like a lot of the atheists were just like, really angry and hating. And I felt angry, definitely. But you need to go?
Yeah, I better take off.
All right, man.
Thanks for the chat.
Go. What's that?
Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, always. Go ahead and plug your stuff. Cory's a great guy. Check him out.
As usual, it's The Mind of a Skeptical Leftist is my podcast and YouTube channel. The way you can find it is anchor.fm/skeptical leftist. And check out my latest video. It's with a young guy who just started a literary magazine for anarchists. So it's super cool. And
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a great guy.
So are you. Thank you so much for the chat.
Thanks. All right, man. See you in 2 weeks.
You bet.
All right.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity, I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out. as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.